Okay, guys, we'll start the session. Just one more confirmation. Is the voice is loud and clear now? Can you just confirm me? One or two messages is enough. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. All right. So I was expecting some more to join, but we'll start the session. Anyway, we already have the numbers. So what we are expecting today, we will be covering those three areas, or rather than covering the three topics that we have mentioned, we will be going for a revision session, so that I know some of you have joined a bit late. In fact, we just started the sessions, right? So the second chapter, the three topics. The first topic was sociology as science. I'll discuss that today, and then we will also go with positivism and then non-positivism. So in fact, we have actually started this batch new students with non-positivism. So I don't think that need to be discussed, but when we go in that flow, I'll also cover that so that it will be more clear to all of you. And that will be a recap for all of you also. Okay. So we will, in fact, if you want, I can start from Emergence of Sociology also. But guys, what I've told you is you need to watch the videos. I'll just show you what videos you need to watch from the website, because if you see the course which is given to you, I have updated some videos of the new batches. So maybe for one topic you may find one or two or maybe three videos. Just need to watch one only. Whatever is the latest one, you watch that. That will be better for you. Or the first is also same anyway, all the content remain the same. But if you feel like watching the latest, because this is how the latest structure, initially I used to take session in a different pattern, but now I have changed the way I used to teach. So this pattern is what you are feeling comfortable, then go with the latest video. Okay, so I'll just show you where you can watch the video. I'll just share the screen now. So I hope you understood where you need to cover the video, and it is already known to you, right? And cover that three topics from the first chapter: sociology, emergence, and then the scope of sociology, and sociology and common sense. But the first is very important, the emergence of sociology. The other two, something, even though I have discussed it in the class, I've taken in the class at that time itself, I have told that this is a topic which you are not supposed to do today, because once you complete the syllabus, you will be able to write very good answer from your side about the scope of sociology. And that is actually what in fact required, rather than mugging up something which I'm giving to you, rather than writing that ready-made answer. In fact, that is going to be a huge effort also for you, because some of the thinkers that I'm mentioning in the scope of sociology, something is what we are going to do in future in detail. So it doesn't matter whether you do it now or not. But since we are going in the order, I'm just taking it. Similarly, this question of sociology and common sense, that also you don't want to do at this point of time, because you complete the syllabus, you will understand whether sociology and common sense is same or not. So actually, there is no need to discuss that topic or deal with that topic or need to mug up that topic in the beginning. This is what I've told in the beginning also. These are very simple topics once you're done with the syllabus. So in my opinion, to be frank, what you need to do so far, it is the emergence of sociology. If you want, I can quickly discuss that also, or from emergence I'll discuss, and then the topic of sociology as science. Very important discussion, because after that the two topics, positivism and non-positivism, is completely connected with that debate, right? These are the three topics, in fact, I want you to be very, very much aware of, because this, you can expect two questions from this chapter. And if you see the previous year papers, sometimes they ask one question from positivism and another from non-positivism. From these two itself, you get two questions. Or they ask question from science, they ask question from objectivity, they ask questions from these areas. Two questions you can expect in this second chapter itself. First chapter also, one or two questions you can expect. And mostly they will ask emergence of sociology. Okay. So guys, let's start with this debate of sociology as science. Now, what we need to do here is we need to first understand the context of this debate. Okay, so the context is sociology have emerged 1838, relatively a very young discipline, right, compared to all the other subject. So if you need to get that initial legitimacy, it is very difficult, because already established subjects are there. And the context of emergence of sociology is some social problems which has come out of modernity and all those associated developments which happened in medieval Europe. So in fact, I can summarize that first topic of emergence of sociology in one line, that sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So medieval Europe have underwent a lot of changes in terms of modernity, industrial revolution, scientific revolution, commercial revolution, intellectual revolution, and a lot of associated changes. There are a lot of positives and negatives also. Okay, so intellectuals started thinking of a discipline which could explain all these changes, provide solution, and also to predict the future. So this is a context for sociology. Okay, so sociology emerged. In fact, in the beginning, Saint Simon thought of social physics, which is analogous to natural science physics. Okay, so that beginning itself, this association with science was there, because otherwise you won't get that acceptance, you won't get that initial legitimacy. If you need to see something new is coming, right? This is the same with everything. If something new is coming into the market, then you need to claim that you are equally good or you're superior compared to whatever is already existing. That's how you can market it, right? So obviously, when sociology came, then also the same situation was there. The initial sociologists wanted to get that acceptance, to get that legitimacy. So they have claimed, and they in fact tried to prove that it is similar to natural science, because people at that point of time, not only about intellectuals, even the common man also only believe in science. Okay, so that is the reason why initial intellectuals wanted to make it similar to science. So what they did, they readily used the methods from natural science. Whatever methods which is used in natural science, they started applying it in sociology also. Even to that extent, if you go with Durkheim, Emile Durkheim, in his study of suicide, he is using statistical techniques, right? Which is very much similar to, or which is a method which can only be in fact used in natural science, which is something very quantitative and dealing with numbers. But the question that he addressed was related to suicide. So he got the data in terms of numbers. So there is a practical applicability there anyway, but still it was criticized by many. We will be studying this theory in detail later. So my point here is, in the beginning, when they tried to make it similar to natural science, they employed the perspectives, they employed the methods, they employed the approaches very much similar to natural science. For example, natural science want to make theories. They want to go with generalization. Specific to general, they have to go for. Establishment of cause and effect is very important for anything. What is that establishment of cause and effect? Guys, if there is something existing, means there is a cause. This is very, very much, this is a backbone of science. If something is there, you have to establish if you are sitting here, there is a cause, right? So this is same for the science. The same thing is what we are actually discussing in science. For everything, for any effect, there is a cause. You are obese, there will be a cause. You are fit, there will be a cause. You are rich, there will be a cause. You are poor, there will be a cause. You crack this exam, there will be a cause. You won't crack this exam, the cause is there. So for everything, there is a cause and effect. So in science, it is very much established that you have to go with the cause and effect relation. So same is the case when it comes to sociology in the beginning. So initial sociologists, they focused on establishing the cause and effect relationship between the social phenomena that are under study. Now, how? Through this cause and effect, this is how you need to generalize. Establishment of cause and effect is what you mean by that generalization. Okay, the generalization is nothing but the theory. So how are you going to make theory? Theory is nothing but this generalization. This should be done in terms of establishment of cause and effect. And which approach you use for this? You have to go with inductive approach. Inductive approach is what you see in natural science. So that influence of natural science was there in the beginning, in terms of their methods, in terms of their approach, in terms of their perspective, in terms of their mindset, and everywhere. Sociology is completely influenced by that that impact of science, because of the initial intellectuals' inclination towards science. But over a period of time, the objections were raised, questions are raised, because we are studying society. Society is composed of human beings. Human beings have emotions, the feelings, the motives, and sentiments and everything. So society is based on human beings, social actions, and these actions, behind the actions, a lot of emotions are there. So how can you study society without actually understanding emotions? Now, can you study emotions based on the methods which are used in natural science? Can you use statistical techniques? Can you use quantitative methods? Can you use inductive approach? No. So with time, it has been understood that there is a practical limitation for using the methods and approaches similar to natural science in sociology. So objections were raised. Now there is a question, is sociology similar to science? So this is actually the context of this first topic of discussion. Why or whether sociology is a science or not. I hope you got it. So if I need to simplify it, I can tell that in 2 sentences. What I did, I have explained many things. But see, the question is very simple. Sociology emerged. Initial intellectuals wanted to make it similar to science. They used the method similar to science. But over a period of time, objections were raised whether you can use these approaches, which is similar to natural science in sociology, because of the subject matter that sociology dealing with. This is the context. So you need to explain the context. Then what we need to do is we need to discuss, or we need to explain what is science. What we did is we can have a general understanding of science. In the 19th century, science was understood like this only: any body of knowledge which conforms to the ideals of empiricism, inductivism, naturalism, or materialism, or establishment of cause and effect, or establishment of universal theories. So any body of knowledge which conforms to these ideals, which is considered as scientific, which is considered as science. But if this is the understanding of science, can we ever argue for sociology being science? No, right? Sociology is not completely empirical. Okay, so if we are not following inductive approach completely, it is very much difficult also. So if this is the understanding of science, something which is based on empirical study, or empiricism, naturalism, inductivism, or establishment of universal theories, we cannot make universal theories in sociology. It is very much difficult. The claimed universal theories are seldom proved the same in reality. It has been rejected. Auguste Comte theory have been rejected. Even Marx theory is also not universally applicable. There are limitations. We will discuss that theory, then you will come to know about that. Okay, so if that is the case, we cannot advocate, or we cannot argue for sociology being science. So I have discussed another understanding of science later. Over a period of time, the conceptualization of science have undergone change, or the understanding of science have undergone a change. Now, science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. So if you see before, what I told you is any body of knowledge means what you study. What you study, that was what actually considered before. Now, it is in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge, means how you study. So before, the understanding of science was based on what you study. Now the understanding is based on how you study. So if it is based on what you study, and if it is understood in terms of empiricism, materialism, naturalism, inductivism, then we cannot argue for that. But if this is the case, if it is how you study, if it is based on method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge, and if this method of inquiry is scientific, if it is based on evidence and reason, if it is based on logic, then you can consider that as scientific. If this is the case, now we have a scope to argue for sociology being science. We can say that we conduct inquiry which is based on evidence and reason, proper investigation is done, proper training of the investigator is done, proper methods are used, evidence is there, logic is there. We can argue in that way. I hope you got this point. So what you need to tell us, you need to explain this understanding on science. Initially, that was the case, but now science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. Then 4 conditions of science, 4, 5, 6 condition I can give you. 4 is what you need to remember mainly. Guys, I'll not be writing it. It will unnecessarily take time. I'll just explain it. I request all of you to watch the video. Once we're done with this, things will be very simple for you. So what are the 4 conditions which has been laid down for any body of knowledge to be scientific? 1, inter-subject reliability, and then quantifiability, and then theory building, and then testing. Okay, I'll just write it also. Testing, and then prediction, if you want, you can add over there. So these are the conditions. First, inter-subject reliability, okay, and then quantifiability, and then you have to make theory building, and then obviously testing, and when it is there testing, you need to go for prediction, and also you need to ensure objectivity in your research. So these are the conditions that you need to look into. Now, what is intersubject reliability? Intersubject reliability means the concepts have same meaning across topics. Like when I say oxygen, whether I'm talking about biology or chemistry or physics, oxygen have the same meaning, right? Similarly, in sociology also, when we talk about family, all these social institutions, religion, have the same meaning for all. So what I say is, if you need to go for arguments in favor, so we will explain all these things. Quantifiability means scope should be defined very clearly. If you see natural science, you know what physics will study, what chemistry will study, right? What biology will study. They cannot go beyond that. Similarly, theory building, there is self-explanatory. Objectivity, there should not be any personal bias. Testing, prediction, these are self-explanatory. Now, after explaining this, what you need to do is you need to go for arguments in favor of sociology being science. Okay, so what are the arguments in favor that you will give? Sociology is having considerable amount of intersubject reliability because the concepts framed in sociology have the same meaning across subjects. I'm talking about considerable amount of intersubject reliability. I'm not talking about absolute intersubject reliability or complete intersubject reliability. I'm not talking about. Okay. Second, quantifiability, the scope of quantified very clearly. Theory building, sociology, we have many theories. Okay, you can give a lot of examples also. And then testing, prediction, you can write. Objectivity, we are trying to ensure maximum possible objectivity through the proper training of the investigator, proper research methods and everything. So these are the arguments in favor. What we need to go next? We need to go for arguments against sociology being science. We can discuss, there are theories, but none of the theories are universally applicable, which is required in science. That is one problem. Objectivity, absolute objectivity is required in natural science, which is never possible in sociology. Prediction and testing is a distinct reality. So these are the arguments against. And then we need to make a conclusion. This is where you need to be very careful. What is going to be our conclusion in this case? We are going to say sociology is a science. Okay, but we will make it very clear that sociology is a science, but not similar to natural science. But it's a science in itself. Why? Because of the definition of science I've discussed before. It's a method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. We conduct investigation in a scientific way, based on evidence and reason, based on proper methods, right? So this can be considered as scientific. So the conclusion, I'll repeat, sociology is a science, but not similar to natural science, but it's a science in itself. Now, what you can do is you can also quote Weber here. According to Weber, the difference is in the subject matter. Natural science study matter, which do not have consciousness. That means the behavior can be predicted very easily in terms of cause and effect relation. Okay, whereas sociology study human beings who have emotions and the behavior cannot be predicted very easily in terms of cause and effect relation. So there is a limitation. Like in case of natural science, you study matter. It is very easy. You study anything and you can, which do not have any life or consciousness, right? You can predict the behavior very easily. Water you boil at 100 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. It can be predicted. You freeze at the freezing point or 0 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen, right? But that's not the case with human beings. That's the main difference. And then you can quote that statement of Karl Popper also. That's how you'll conclude the answer. So that is the first topic that we have done. And then we have discussed about the next topic, that is positivism. So guys, positivism is actually an extension of this topic that we have discussed here, because once you discussed about science, right? So what they wanted to do, they wanted to make it similar to natural science. So positivism is also an approach of which is followed in science. So all the desirable elements in science, if you see, will be reflected here, because positivism is an approach in science. So what is the objective of positivism? To achieve all these elements that we discussed. For example, they want to go with intersubject reliability, and then they want to go for quantifiability. Then there should be theory building, and then there should be you should ensure objectivity, and then you should go for testing, and then there should be prediction. So positivism is an approach within science. So the idea of positivism is to achieve all these objectives or the ideals of science, right? So science or positivism will also talk about you have to establish theory. And one more important thing in positivism is you should only concerned about external reality. You should never study internal aspect. You should never go with internal aspect. Even Auguste Comte made it very explicit, very specific, that a sociologist, you should never be inclined towards studying internal aspect. You should never do that. Only external reality. Why? If you deal with external reality, you can achieve objectivity. That is why you will go for external reality. So first point in positivism, external reality, you have to make theory. How you make theory? You have to follow scientific methods. Now, why you need to use scientific method? Because you can avoid those human emotions and everything. So when you use scientific methods, what you can do is, or what you can achieve is, you can achieve objectivity. So objectivity is a very fundamental principle in science. So by following scientific methods, when you're establishing the theory or investigation, you can ensure objectivity. And guys, one more point, when you're making theory, it means you have to establish the cause and effect. It has to be very specific, the cause and effect. That's how the theory should be. And the theory which you are making should be which process or which approach? It should be inductive theories. Okay, so all these are need to be followed in positivism. So you should study external reality, making theories. Studies should be done by scientific methods, ensure objectivity, establish the cause and effect, use inductive approach in theory building. And then this testing will be there, obviously, that will come, and the prediction will also come here, right? So these are what we are looking for in positivism. Now let's go with the critique of positivism. So initial sociologists, what they did, they employed this approach of positivism. Who are they? Comte, Spencer, Simon, or even Durkheim, very well established positivist. Okay, to an extent, Marx also. Why I'm using the word to an extent when it comes to Marx, you will understand when we discuss Marx, because Marx is not a pure sociologist. Marx is more of a philosopher or an economist. I don't know why inductive approach I have discussed so many times. Even yesterday also I've discussed, day before yesterday also inductive approach I've discussed. Why still you are asking about this? I don't understand. Okay, I've discussed this in the last 3 sessions continuously, because I've talked about positivism, I've talked about non-positivism. 3 times I have explained inductive approach. If you have not understood, please watch the video. That's what all I can tell. If I'm not able to make you understand in the 3 sessions, even now also I don't think I can make you understand. So please watch the video and repeat it. Okay, so inductive approach is a method of theory building. I'll repeat it once more. This is what normally you use in natural science. You collect the data, right? First you collect data and then go for interpretation, then go for theory building. That's it. There is nothing more. This approach is what you consider as inductive approach. So in case of inductive approach, there is nothing fixed in your mind. There is no hypothesis which is already made. You come blank, you take the data, analyze the data, make the theory. This is what happens in natural science also. This is what inductive approach. But deductive approach means you come with a already assumption. That is what hypothesis. I've given you a lot of example also here in this case. I've given you the example of accident. I've given you the example of domestic violence, and I don't understand why still you're talking about this. You're not able to understand. If you're not able to understand now, please watch the video. I have nothing more to tell in this context. I'm extremely sorry for this. Okay. So this is external reality. Now we need to go for this topic is positivism and its critique, right? So what are the criticism, guys? Criticism, when we talk about, no, I'm not talking about previous videos. I'm talking about last 3 sessions. If you have attended, I've discussed inductive approach in the last 3 sessions also. Not only once, twice, and thrice I've discussed. But it's just an approach. What does that mean? Just collect data, interpret, and the theory building. That approach is what you consider as inductive approach. Deductive approach means the reverse, which you follow in social science. Come with a hypothesis, then try to prove it. Okay. So in inductive approach, you can ensure objectivity as you don't have any personal bias. You're just observing data. Based on that, you'll make a conclusion or cause and effect. But in deductive approach, there is a chance for subjectivity because you are already coming with a fixed mindset, like domestic violence is because of alcoholism. You made this hypothesis and you collect data to prove that only. Okay. So what are the criticism now? Guys, you are focusing on external reality. That itself is the bigger criticism, right? Because sociology is studying human beings, have emotions. So if you're not studying that, it is a partial understanding of reality, or it's a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. So your emphasis on external reality, making it a partial understanding of reality. So if you need to complete it, you have to focus on internal aspect, because society is composed of human beings, human emotions. So ignoring internal aspect means you're just studying half. This is a fundamental and the most important criticism. This is what you're going to see in non-positivism. So in non-positivism, you will see that they are focusing on internal aspects. Okay. And then the theory, you can say the theories are made, but none of the theories are actually universally applicable, or the overemphasis on universal applicability of the theory made it, not practical. None of the theories which are framed in sociology are actually universally applicable. Then there are problems with objectivity. Absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable. Okay, theory, testing, prediction, these are very difficult in sociology. So criticism is very simple, right? Once you know this, each and every point you can take. Now, again, use of scientific methods. How can you criticize? Guys, initially, what you did is you just borrowed methods from natural science. Okay. Later, you have developed methods. And I can give you an example for that. Initially, you borrowed means Durkheim initially used statistical techniques, which is from natural science. But Durkheim, in his later studies, apart from suicide, he developed his own methods. And in fact, we use that also. We study that also in future. That is very specific to sociology he have made. Okay. So the point is, when we criticize this, initially you use methods from natural science, which is not that easy, right? Because natural science method, how can you use it very simply in sociology? That is not possible. There are obvious limitations. And that's the reason why that theory is not actually a perfect one. Secondly, even though you have developed methods, there is a problem in application in terms of subjective bias and everything. Okay, so each and every point you can take and you can criticize. When you watch the video, you will get to know all these, how you criticize. Objectivity, there is a problem because you're studying human beings. Very difficult to establish objectivity when human beings are studying human beings. Then cause and effect, inductive theory. In sociology nowadays, more preferences for deductive approach rather than inductive approach. Okay, so these are the criticism. Now these criticisms will lead to non-positivism. So I'll just write positivism and then non-positivism. Now, there is a link also in between. That's where Weber and Mead will come. So Weber is in fact interpretive sociology. So if you get a question on interpretive sociology, we need to talk about Weber. I'll discuss that in the Thinkers chapter. Mead is interactionist. Okay. And here it is pure non-positivism. Here is there we have discussed about phenomenology. And for this, I have discussed with the new students also. And then ethno-methodology, these two methods. So what we discussed in positivism, I'll just repeat it again here. You are focusing on external reality, right? But when it comes to Weber and Mead, they will change it to internal. So what has been changed? The subject matter. Subject matter have been changed, right? So Weber, in fact, changed the subject matter from external to internal. So subject matter means what? I can write what you study has been changed. So what you study has been changed from external to internal. So subject matter has been changed. Okay. Again, here you have to make theory. Weber is also of the opinion that you have to make theory and you will be studying theory. You have to establish cause and effect. Weber also is of the opinion that you have to establish cause and effect. You have to use scientific methods. Weber also saying you use scientific methods. You have to ensure objectivity. Weber is also of the opinion that you have to ensure objectivity. So what is the change here? What you study has been changed from external to internal. This is all what? This is all about how you study. So the two questions here, what you study and how you study. So what you study is the same, is changed from positivism, but how you study is the same. Okay, how you study? Objectively, you have to study. You have to study objectively, right? You have to ensure objectivity. Weber also talking about you have to ensure objectivity. So what you study has been changed. Now here, guys, when you talk about external reality, it is nothing but objective reality. So you study objective reality here. You study objectively here. Objectively means without any personal bias. So I can actually write this as objective study of objective reality. Now, why I'm writing objective study? It's all about how you study. Why I'm writing objective reality? It is about what you study. It is the external reality. Now, if I write this objective study of objective reality, how can I write Weber's approach? How will I write that? Weber is talking about how you study objectively. So Weber is also objective study of what reality? Here it is internal aspect. So there is a change from here to here. So I'll be writing it as objective study of subjective reality because internal aspects are subjective, meanings, emotions, and everything. Perfect. Okay, now comes the non-positivist. Now, non-positivist, what they did is they just continued the tradition of Weber. So they have considered that you should study internal aspects. Perfect. But with respect to how you study, they don't prefer any theory. Rather, they go with understanding only. They don't want to establish cause and effect or anything. Just understand the situation, because you cannot make it universally applicable. Things will be different. The understanding will be different for different people and different situations. So it can be subjective. So here it's about subjective study. Okay, so how you study? Subjectively. What you study? Internal reality. So how are you going to write like this? It is going to be subjective study, means how you study is subjective of what reality? Subjective reality. So now what I have written in the bottom, it's about only two things: what you study and how you study. In positivism, what you study? External reality, which is the objective reality. That's why objective reality here. Okay, here it is objective reality. And how you study? You study by ensuring objectivity. That is why objective study. When it comes to Weber and Mead, what you study? Internal aspects, which is subjective. That's why it is subjective reality. What you study is subjective reality. How you study? Objectively. So what is common between positivism and Weber's approach? Second part is common. No, this part, right? Objective study. How you study is common, but what you study is different. When it comes here, both are subjective. What you study has been internal. How you study is subjective. So guys, this is the context. This is the reason why you can consider Weber to bridge the gap between the two. Because Weber have elements common in both positivism and non-positivism. What is common in positivism? Objective study. What is common with non-positivism? Subjective reality, or the internal aspect. So this is about non-positivism. And this is what we have actually discussed. So I'll just repeat it. It is exact opposite of positivism. Instead of external reality, you study internal reality. Then everything else, no, right? No theory, because all about understanding. So cause and effect establishment is not possible. Objectivity, you cannot ensure objectivity, go with subjective understanding. And then theory and testing, no scope for it. So this approach is subjective study of subjective reality, completely subjective. And then we have discussed about phenomenology and ethnomethodology in this context as two different methods. There's something which you need to watch the video and try to cover it. Guys, this is just a recap, or I'm just trying to help you out to cover that area. So I hope you understood the session. Now what you need to do, you need to watch these three topics in detail and try to cover it today itself, because we will be starting with next chapter tomorrow. I'll be starting with stratification. Any doubt now, you can ask me. I'll just unmute all of you. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, I'm done with my session. Guys, any doubt now?
Hello.
Yes. Not audible, yaar. Not audible. You're not audible.
Now it's audible, sir. Hello.
Okay, tell me.
Sir, my question is, if like some question will come, for example, like how common sense is different with sociology. So in the body, we will explain difference and similarity both. But in conclusion, whether we need to write, we need to talk about difference, or maybe we can talk about mutual independence.
In that context, also the same conclusion that we have discussed is what you need to write, because even though they're asking about difference, there is an inherent a question which is there underlying, which one is superior, because that is the reason why you are asking about the difference between the two. They are expecting that you will talk about which one is better than the other, which one is superior. But again, what I have told is I don't want to make anyone as superior. We will tell that both are mutually supportive, or both are complementary rather than contradictory. Without common sense, you cannot be a sociologist, obviously, right? So in fact, common sense is actually the starting point of sociology. So based on that, whatever conclusion I've given to you and whatever value addition which you can make with your knowledge that you're going to gain over the period of time with the completion of the syllabus, write a proper conclusion accordingly.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
But guys, again, the point is those topics, no, the sociology, common sense, scope of sociology, there is no end. These are not specific questions. So in my opinion, you should not be, if you're not writing mains this year, you should not be even preparing these topics. Just ignore these topics, because these are the topics which should come to you automatically. When you write, the content should flow. And whenever you write, today you write an answer, tomorrow you write an answer, tomorrow a better answer will come. It should come spontaneously rather than something which is fixed in your mind. If something is fixed, then like that is not going to be good. You'll only try to reproduce that, and within that also limitations and mistakes will come. So it is not required for those topics, but thinkers and all, we need to do the same thing. But these topics, just keep it open. So based on the demand of the question, we will see that. We have the content anyway. We just need to manipulate only based on the demand of the question, or we just need to adjust it. That we can do easily. Right now, it may look slightly difficult for you because you're just starting with sociology. But trust me, guys, once you're done with the syllabus and one year is over, things are going to be very simple. It's not the way you think now. Okay. Anything else, guys? Guys, I'll repeat in case if you need inductive approach once more. Inductive approach is a method which is used in natural science normally, or science. Okay. So it is normal process of theory building. What you used to do in your physics lab or chemistry lab, what you do, you go to the lab, you want to prove some theory or something in the lab, right? Here you need to make a theory, but there you can't make a theory because already someone has made the theory. You just need to prove that experiment. So what you do, you collect some data, you do some experiment that they have done while making the process. You will collect some data. You will then, first of all, collection of data is done. Do you have anything in mind? No, right? You just do that measurement. Then you make some tables or graphs or something. You will go for interpretation. Then you will go for theory building. And you will write, hence it is proved. Like you made a theory. Someone else might have made the Newton or someone made the theory, but you will do that experiment only. Exactly the same is what you need to follow. So that is what I've discussed. When you see an accident or when you're supposed to study an accident, if you're someone who's using inductive approach, you won't keep anything in mind. You won't even think about the problem maybe because of the turning, or the problem maybe because of the monsoon. You won't keep anything in your mind. You just go collect the data. How many accidents have happened? How many deaths is there? How many critically injured? How many vehicles got total loss or damage? You collect all that possible data. Then you make conclusions. And this conclusion may actually help you to predict also. Like in next June, this many accidents may be possible. So you can even go for alert or something like that. So this is inductive approach. Okay. But in deductive approach, you already make something in your mind. Like I've told you that case of domestic violence, I want to study. So what I do, I make an assumption or this is what hypothesis, that domestic violence is because of dowry or alcoholism. And then I'll try to collect data and I'll try to only prove that. So here the subjectivity of the investigator will come because I've already made my mind. Maybe because of my experience, I've made my mind. So your value, your bias is already there in the hypothesis itself. Now, when you collect data, you will try to find those people who are facing problem of alcoholism rather than someone who's giving normal answers, right? So that is very subjective. So deductive approach is going to be subjective. Inductive, no, because you will make generalization only from the data you collected, and you are completely independent in the way when you're collecting the data. Okay, anything else, guys?